Straight to the top.
My name's Amari Scott. I'm from Indiana, and I'm 13.
How long have you been playing cornhole?
A year, just about a year.
Only a year?
Yep.
And you've made 2 top 8s today in doubles and singles, going in both brackets undefeated, right?
Yep.
And then pretty much, fingers crossed, secured your pro status today. In 1 year of playing, that's crazy.
Keep your eye on this kid, because he's going straight to the top.
American Cornhole Organization. Yeah, it's a real thing since 2005. Find out how to play, where to play, and compete nationwide. Scan now to join the ACO family at AmericanCornhole.com. The ACO. We are cornhole.
Around here, light can bring out the best in you. It can make you believe you'll find the buried treasure. Tempt you to bet on yourself. Convince you there's room for one more bite. And beg you to stay out way past your bedtime. Don't say we didn't warn you. Come find your island, Prince Edward Island.
Hi, I'm Rich Pyle, the host of Hole Nation, where we share everything this cornhole and a lot more. Follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and catch our new videos every Wednesday at 7. And remember, whether it's sticky or slick side down, bring it.
Hey, what do you say, Holeheads? Welcome to Taco Tuesday. Finn, the loudmouth for the ACO. I would normally be side by side with Frank Geers, the Cornhole Dude, but after a wild final weekend of season 20, he is taking a little bit of R&R, and then we'll be back at it big time as we head toward the World Championships in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We finished up season 20 in Branson, or as I want to call it, damn son. And I'm not spoiling anything here with regard to the results. Sebastian Barger put on another clinic, got the three-peat, so Chicago, Camp Margaritaville, and then Branson right in a row. Really kind of, if you think about it, coming full circle for him, because that's where we were first introduced to Sebastian Barger in the original Pro Series so many years ago when he won his way in and didn't even realize what he had won his way into, that $20,000 winner-take-all tournament. But congratulations, Seabass. We'll call him Three Bass for the sake of this edition of the Taco. But I mentioned what a wild and weird weekend. And speaking of the Pro Series that was scheduled for Branson has been moved to the Worlds. It also means it's not a buy-in tournament. It's open to all pros with free entry for the 5th and final Pro Series that will be happening in Tulsa, Oklahoma. For those who didn't know that, now you know. If someone you know doesn't know, you can now tell them that you know, and you can share that information with them. But because of logistics, because of scheduling, and because of unforeseen flooding issues, which we'll show you here in a little while, what a weird weekend. We flip-flop schedules, doubles and singles on Friday, then juniors, women's, seniors, co-ed, big blind draw on Saturday. So I'm curious, and you can feel free to throw it down in the comments, if you were there and that order of operations made it different for you to pitch or throw or get your groove or whatever it was, not travel related, but just if you were there for both days like you would have been anyway, how did that affect the way you played the game? We saw way different games on center court than we were typically seeing. We did see some great final shots. Well, I should say both center courts, because we picked everything up out of one big room there in Branson at the convention center and moved it into the carpeted room. And again, keep that in mind here in a moment. But as we wrap up with these results, heading into the Worlds, who's on a roll? Who's on a bit of a heater right now? Who do you think? We're going to be discussing this over the next couple of weeks. Who is really poised to make some noise at the World Championships in Tulsa this season? And kind of curious to see if you agree with, at least I know Philip and myself, this is the most wide open any Worlds that I've been involved with appears to be. And in every division. We've got a couple names at the tops of certain divisions that continue to battle back and forth. We saw that particularly in the women's division. this past weekend. But who do you think really is poised at this point rolling into the end of July into Tulsa? Feel free to either share that in the comments below today or give it some thought and be ready for next week when Frank and I are back together and we can really open up that discussion. Lots planned for Worlds 20 in Tulsa, not the least of which is the ACO Shields Tulsa Toss, which will be happening on Championship Saturday, which is an opportunity for Shields to open up this tournament to not just ACO players, but to the entire Tulsa community. And we're really hoping that lots of folks from the Tulsa area will grab a partner and come out and be a part of it. And they are going to be a part of the opening party the Sunday before everything gets started. More on that here in a moment. So I think that's everything you need to know about. Those of you who watch, we did put reminders on the Facebook page to watch on the YouTube channel. We did have one issue that happened on Saturday, for a little bit of clarity. We had an issue where, and you'll see this in a moment, where the flooding that happened in the room that was mitigated by ServPro, it had gotten into the sidewalls and was wicking up the walls. We ran into an issue with the internet for a period of time. We were down on YouTube for, 90 minutes to 2 hours and having to reset cameras and switch to a different internet connection. Fortunately, it did not affect the tablets that were out on the main play area spaces. So that play was able to continue. It did affect center court for a period of time that overlapped into juniors because we had to take the cameras down and work on it. It wasn't that we didn't want to have things on center court. We at that point we couldn't. So we got all of that figured out, had a big finish to a big weekend through the co-ed. And so we'll get to those results here in just a moment. You saw the ACO Canada pre-roll there. Excited for that in season 21. But again, our focus really now is on the wrap-up of season 24. More bag partners featured out front. You saw bag partners scrolling and featured during the stream both days from Branson. Also, something that we've added now is a kind of a scroll, or I guess it'd be a chyron, if you will, across the top of the tier winners and the division winners and everything else, just so anytime that you might happen to tune in, you can see if a player you had your eye on or a friend or family member, how they might have finished. And we had some pretty cool results in the tier play as well. I did not have a Monster Cornhole update, but I'm guessing it looks pretty similar to what it looked like last week. So you can see there on the screen, kind of take a look. Some of the same, again, the states, Indiana, Kentucky. You got Missouri now showing up in there, Georgia, Illinois. So it continues rolling. And the end of season 1 of Monster Cornhole is the end of this month. And then season 2 immediately begins July 1st and runs through December 31st. A great way to get anybody and everybody that's into the game of cornhole, into the sport of cornhole, and come out and compete for prizes at eye level, shoulder level with people of the same skill level. Part of the discussion a couple of weeks ago was about the handicapping system that was developed by Scoreholio, a great way for you to be able to use that system, whether you're playing out in the backyard or the cul-de-sac or wherever it is, as we roll this into some of the opportunities for regionals. You'll have the CODs, the certified official directors, will have the opportunity to kind of take their pick on how they're going to run these things. It's not going to apply to majors, so don't worry about the handicapping coming into play in majors in season 21, but just want to let you know that it is out there for you. The Fox Chapel folks, we've been talking to them. They printed the Cornhole Cookbook, and they are going to plan on being with us at the World Championships. In fact, I think as part of the arrangement with the folks at Shields, Fox Chapel's coming in, and we're going to be doing a cookbook signing. So you'll have the opportunity to get, if you're in the area and you're not an ACO player or whatever, and you wouldn't be seeing this probably if you're not. But the bottom line is we'll be promoting the autograph signing, and I think Frank and Haley Sullivan will be there to sign the books, and it'll be an opportunity for you to come out and grab one if you don't have one. But really excited about that. That's going to make a great party there for us that opening day, and we're going to have 2 parties that day, as a matter of fact, one at Shields, and then we'll have one later on Sunday night that evening. But the more details on the Shields partnership and promo when we get into Tulsa as we get a little bit closer. So let's talk a little bit about the final major of season 20 in Branson, Missouri. It's kind of become another home away from home for us, the way that Owensboro has, but a great way to end the season. Thanks again to the crew, Aaron Candler and Whitney, for running the registration and the brackets. Sean Priest, as always, leading the setup crew with Craig and Ashley Irvin. Appreciate you. Russell Tabers rolling in. Heinerman behind the scenes. My man Phil, the Mississippi Ninja, for yeoman's work. I think it was 10 hours of broadcast on Friday and 6 or 7 on Saturday. And this time when we thank the crew, we really have to include more people than I even know and more people that are on the list, because as you saw us wrapping up things on Friday on center court, what you didn't see was dozens of boards literally being picked up by anybody and everybody and rolled into the next room that had just finished being mitigated from the flooding. And if you want to show that video, we can show that video. This is 72 hours, not before we got to Branson, 72 hours before we went into this room to play. This is what it looked like. There had been a water main break just outside the convention center. That is 3 inches of water in that carpeted room. If you've been to Branson, where we hosted the very first Pro Series, you know that room. It's right off the lobby. And that's what it looked like 72 hours before we started playing in there. So they finished mitigating the flooding. Surf Pro did a great job. They did it in the big room, but that was concrete, so it was a little easier to do. The big concern was this room, where we were going to have to move into late Friday night by midnight. The only thing we hadn't moved was center court, because we were still playing singles finals there. And it was quite an effort. So thank you to the extended crew who helped get everything over there and set up and ready to roll. I think we got to bed at 3:45 Central Time, and we're up at 7:45 to get back down to get in there to get things going on Saturday. And a big pat on the back to everybody who made it happen, who helped it happen, and got us through. We wrapped up Saturday night with a big blind draw, I think around 11:30 on the final set of boards yet to be moved. So thanks again to the folks at the Branson Convention Center, everybody with the CVB, everybody at the other organization. There was a car. The reason we had to move into this room, into Lake Branson, if you will, was there was a car show in the larger space the next morning. So that was filled with cars. We have a photo of it somewhere. We could probably share it sometime, but just to show you why everything had to move, it was in the slideshow. Yeah. So it was crazy. Thanks again to everybody at the Full Throttle Distilling and Smokehouse. Michael Ballard, appreciate his crew. Richard behind the moonshine tasting booth. That dude was a complete and utter character. Becca, who was our server the first day, who was dishing out nicknames, whether they were appreciated or otherwise. Someone in our crew was nicknamed Baloney Man. Someone. Anyway, the bottom line, the food was great. Appreciated having them to work with, and look forward to working with them in the future. But you can also see, you'll see some of maybe the moonshine shots and different things as part of that slideshow. So a lot of that. And then at the very beginning of the taco, you saw our girl Jamie. She and Jordan were celebrating a birthday that weekend. So they were down there. She was drinking for 2, I think, holding a couple of drinks on that very first night. But Jordan and Jamie, congratulations on your birthday party. Sorry we missed it, but we were there late into the evening on Saturday. So again, thanks to the extended crew. What a crazy weekend it turned out to be. Look at those 4 handsome fellas right there. All right, let's talk a little bit about results. Senior singles, Mick Hoaxang, I think he proved Philip Barnett correct over Scott Beck. And those guys, again, you've got this kryptonite with one another. Scott Beck tends to roll around kind of the Texas and the tentacle areas around there. And then you've got Mick, who is Indiana, Illinois, and so on and so forth. So they come to Branson to fight it out once again. Mick Hoaxang comes out on top. Gary Rohrig, who was another guy who was having some great pitching during the tournament, comes in third. In juniors, it was Spencer Garner over Bryce Jefferson. Spencer getting his first purple jersey for the season. Karsten Morris, the younger, comes in third. Again, a name you're seeing week in and week out. In women's, we were talking about this when you're heading into the Worlds. Who are some of these names going to be? Josefina Ernsberger was there, but doesn't find herself in the top 3. Maggie Geiger, when she rolls into the Worlds, what's that going to look like? Kendall Cox, will she be there? Kennedy Meineke was certainly there, and she knocked Kim Jackson into the losers bracket. Kim fought her way back to a rematch, and it turned out Kennedy ended up taking home the hardwood over Kim Jackson. But gosh, there's so many other women in the division who picked up wins but there were a handful that really dominated, but there were other names that just kept creeping up there. And again, Jamie and Jordan, who knows, maybe in women's doubles we might see their names pop up. In co-ed doubles, Dustin Arant and Taylor Owens, that was a dogfight with Ashley and Craig Irvin, but Dustin and Taylor take that home, and Russell Tabers, Martina Belt take third place. There were no quads this particular time, so no results to report there in the big blind draw. As we said, it went late into the evening on Saturday. Galen Wood and Matt Mershon taken down by Noah Dennis and Andrew Burrows. Congratulations to them. Chris Day and Jeremy Lindley take third place. In World Tier Doubles Tier 2, Terry Amos and Jackie Amos, who we saw all weekend long, take home the hardwood for Tier 2. And Tier 3, it's Neil and Haley Sullivan, the newly minted married couple there. Congratulations to them for Tier 3. Tier 4, Corey Lamb and Dawson Cotter taking home the top prize. And in Tier 5, Chris Truitt and Jordan Shaw. Congratulations on Tier 5 champions. In ACO World Doubles, the entire rundown of the finals in that last bracket, Russell Tabers and Craig Irvin tied for 7th with Trey Matting and Darren Zastro. Jason Wolf and Dan DeClue tied for 5th with Amari Scott, who you saw in that open spot there as well. Amari partnered up with Wiley Chambers. They traveled together. Amari is going to be making a name for himself. That's what we posted that piece that Kim Jackson put together on Amari. He's somebody you're going to have to keep an eye on moving forward, as you do with a lot of our juniors. Chris Day and Larry Young were in at 4th. Matt Troxel and Dawson Cummings threw great all weekend, came in 3rd. Colby Baskins and Zach Dawson battled Justin Lang and Alex McDonald in a back-and-forth battle and at some point in a game that looked like nobody wanted to win, but until it came down to it, if you go back and watch that, the final shot from Justin Lang, he aced it, and it was a great way to end what was a hard-fought doubles match. So Justin Lang, Alex McDonald, congratulations on the doubles victory. In singles Tier 2, Mike Smith takes it. In Tier 3, Brandon Ware, congratulations. Tier 4, Philip Adam. And Tier 5, Shannon Roberts, who we see it seems like at every single major. Tier 5, Shannon Roberts, congratulations. Nicely done. Grabbed a trophy to take home as well. In World Singles, in that final pairings, we've got Zach Dawson tied with Trey Matting for 7th. Amari Scott, who we mentioned before, tied for 5th with Dustin Arant. That was some long battles between a lot of those guys in there as well. Devin Holloway takes 4th. Drew Waking rolls his way and lifts his way and focuses and lines his way up into 3rd place. Then it came down to Sebastian Barger, who you already know won his 3rd in a row singles, but he fought against Riley Brewster, who is throwing gangbuster bags right now. That was fun to watch, and you're going to get to see a little bit of that here coming up in Whole Nation's Shot of the Week. So again, congratulations, Sebastian Barger. 3 bass. He's got Chicago, Camp Margaritaville, and Branson to end the season. Bang, 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 like I said, right where he belongs, or right where it began when you first were introduced to Sebastian Barger a few years ago in Branson. He had a grin on his face, and he seems to be very relaxed and comfortable with his game, his temperament, everything. And it's good to see him throwing at such a high level. And I do think, as you're talking about a potential king of cornhole, Philip was talking a little bit about this on the broadcast. I think he absolutely is in that conversation. So we'll continue that conversation on upcoming tacos. But, give it some thought as to who you've seen, and maybe go back and watch some of these other matches and see what you think. And you know what? Speaking of that match between Sebastian and Riley, why don't we go ahead and show you, courtesy.
Thanks, Finn and Frank. Welcome to this segment brought to you by Whole Nation. I'm your host, Rich Pyle. I'm going to show you a cornhole shot from a recent tournament. A pivotal shot, a game-changing shot, a shot you don't get to see every day. Check out this Shot of the Week.
Usually we call this Shot of the Week, but after watching this frame between Riley Brewster and Sebastian Barger at the ACO Branson Major, we had to call it Shots of the Week. Just when I thought that I had seen the most incredible cut collect shot, another one happened. Great shot, Riley. And another incredible shot after that. Great shot, Sebastian. These two are on another level, the same level, at the same time. They make it look like there's a remote controlling the way the bags are moving all around the board. Incredible round, gentlemen.
Thanks for watching this week's Shot of the Week. Now let's turn it back over to the Taco Show with Frank and Finn at the ACO World Headquarters. Frank, Finn?
Yeah, I got to agree with you, Rich. That's more of a frame round of the week. That was insane. And those are the bags that Phil calls turn signal bags that are able to just cut right and then cut back and left, leave your blocker in place, or run around your own, run around your opponent's bag and come in the backside. That was really amazing to watch. In fact, there were a lot of shots like that in that match, but it was one of those where Heinerman and I were even talking to. I don't even remember that frame in the final, so I'm glad they brought that back to the forefront. What a great piece there. Thanks to everybody with Whole Nation, and congratulations again, Riley Brewster. Great shooting, and congratulations again to Sebastian Barger. The whole Barger family and friends were out there supporting, and that's always good to see. Hey, Camp Margaritaville, thank you guys for filling out your surveys, specifically Lynn Cowart from Georgia. She grabbed herself the survey winner grand prize, which is cool, so you'll be able to apply that into next season, Lynn. And the Branson mystery bag winners that'll be mailed out to you, we took them with us, but Roy Girth, Gierth, out of Arkansas, and Erica Wiseman from Missouri. You guys have bags coming your way, official ACO stamped and approved bags. So while we had them there for you to take home with you, we will get those in the mail to you. Again, registering to be one of those first 100 gets you in the running for one of 2 sets of free bags, and also fill out those surveys at the end of a major. Really helps us make the case that the ACO belongs in these cities, and Branson is no different than any other city. So that will be populating in your email box if you haven't already seen it. So take an opportunity, kind of the way we did, to thank sort of the cast and crew of everybody. Margaret Barrett, appreciate all the behind the scenes work that you're doing. Amber Fretwell, Whitney Houston with the certified official, or Whitney Houston. What the fuck? What the heck? Whitney Garner, certified officials. It's okay. Anybody and everybody, you'll see everybody at the Worlds. Paula and Jack Stevens, so many who've been a big part of it. April and Chris and LaBelle, who's been all over the place. You'll see Gary and the crew down there making sure that Darian making sure that everybody has the outerwear for the Worlds. It's a massive crew of folks that make this happen. So thanks to everyone. Heinerman behind the scenes making us look better than we should. CBC, Andy B, the whole crew, everybody that's been part of all of the streaming through the course of the season. We've had a couple of hiccups here and there, but for the most part, most of the coverage has been solid, and we intend to expand the coverage next season as we expand the ACO out toward the West Coast as well. A couple of things, just a quick reminder. Don't forget, the end of this month, the Punta Gorda 3-day festival, $20,000 in prize money, play later in the day, all kinds of different stuff. The bag manufacturers are invited to come out and be a part of that, and make sure you dress the part, outfit your team in what should be, something that grabs people's attention. We're going to have the little drummer boy. We're going to have all kinds of things. You can see all that, the tiki toss, the shootout, and then the Battle of the Bags on the first night at the Twisted Fork Saloon. The Gulf Coast Classic, come on out and be a part of it. It's so much fun. From everybody I've heard that from, I'm hoping to get down there whether I do any work or not, just to be there to witness it. But we want to keep going back each year and keep that $20,000 prize money purse going in a non-points earning tournament, just out there to have some fun. A great way to exhale after a great season 21. Twisted Fork, 4 Point Sheridan with the backup there at the convention center should weather become an issue, but make plans now to be in Punta Gorda for the Gulf Coast Classic. National Senior Games right after the Worlds. That kind of bookends, those two bookend the Worlds. Of course, we're going to Tulsa, Oklahoma, partnering up with Shields. We'll tell you more about that opening party this Sunday before everything gets started, and looking forward to having you really explore the Shields universe, if you will, when you get to Tulsa and partnering with them. And then the National Senior Games kicks things off in the month of August, 1, 2, and 3. And then, boom, we're into season 21 once again. So there's lots of stuff, too, that we have to talk about between now and the Worlds. Things that are going to be a little bit different but I think you're going to find them to be a lot better so that we can hit the ground running when season 21 hits and not ironing out creases as the first month rolls through, or 6 weeks, so that you are ready to hit the ground running with anything and everything that you need. Clarity, taking emotion out of it. You'll find out if you're a certified official director. Also, we've got a lot of new faces coming to the ACO and a lot of familiar faces coming back, and more of that will be part of the taco in the coming weeks as we head to Tulsa. We do have, I hope, we talked about it, Kim Jackson and I talked about having a combo video for both Camp Margaritaville experience and the Branson experience that she is putting together. It's a little bit early in the day because we're recording in advance, so we will tag that on to the end here, so stick around if you can to watch that. If you were at either one of those, a lot of it will look familiar to you. If you weren't, good reason to get to both of those in the coming year. But I think that really wraps it up. Again, congratulations, Sebastian Barger throwing lights out, boom, 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 3 in a row, Chicago, Camp Margaritaville, and Branson, Missouri as well. Thanks to all of those who helped out in what was an interesting final week to the season, and congratulations to all of our winners, tiers all the way up to the very top of the main division. So on behalf of everybody from the ACO, as we put kind of a little bow on season 20, boom, boom, and on behalf of Frank Geers, the Cornhole Dude, I am Finn, the loudmouth for the ACO, reminding you and thanking you as you continue to keep on pitching.
This time on Chad and Kim's Cornhole Adventures, we've got a special 2-part episode with Camp Margaritaville and Branson, Missouri. First up, Camp Margaritaville. If you haven't made it down for the Margaritaville Major yet, you need to add it to your calendar for next season. It is one of the most fun events of the year. And yes, for all of you guys that are wondering, the air conditioning worked great this year. The cool thing about Camp Margaritaville is that you can rent one of their cabins, or you could bring in an RV or rent an RV for the week. There's so many things to do on the resort, including mini golf, several bars, restaurants, and an awesome pool with a splash pad and a water slide. My kids had an absolute blast there. It was a good weekend of cornhole. I won the pre-party blind draw with AT Klinger and also got my 13th women's major win. Up next, I was headed to Branson for the final ACO major of season 20. Wow, I cannot believe this season is already over. It has flown by. But it's always fun to end the season in Branson. This year I saw a little more heartache, I guess, than I've seen in the past, seeing so many players that were so close to maxing out in their division, and also having a tight match with Kennedy Beinecke in women's. But it was still an amazing event, and Branson is always fun. There's so much to do there: shopping, restaurants, putt-putt, all kinds of shows. I mean, Branson is a great spot to head to with your family. Also, again, we hit up some rolled ice cream, which is one of my absolute favorite things. It's been an amazing season, which none of it would be possible without our sponsors. I want to say a big thank you to them for all their support this season, and looking so forward to heading to Worlds in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And that's it, Chad and Kim's Cornhole Adventure.